Welcome to the official Starmade Q&A. We've got quite a big turnout here. Thank you all for being here. I think we're going to end up jumping right into this, if that's all right with everybody else.
Yeah, let's get it off the ground.
All right. In that case, Calbiri, if you would be willing to introduce yourself and give everybody, those people that may not know, a little bit of info about who you are and what you do on Starmade.
Yeah, hello everyone. I'm Calbri, and I help with PR for the game, and I dabble some with integrating ideas into actually functioning systems.
All right. And how long have you been working with Schema then?
I've been with the game for over a year, but I've actually been actively on the team for a couple months.
All right. And so there's your credentials. Nobody can deny them now. Mwahaha. Yeah, I'm still a little tired. Leave me alone. All right. So let's get started. The format for this, like I said, is going to be we're going to go via topic, and we're going to go ahead and list through the questions one by one, and we'll allow Calbiri to answer as best he can. Afterwards, at the end of that list, we're going to go ahead and go through everybody here in TeamSpeak, and they'll be able to question, comment, concern sort of thing for everything. So, here we go. You ready, Cal?
Yeah.
All right, so the first question is, how did you first get started into developing Starmade? Now, I understand you're going to be answering for Schema in this case, yes?
Yeah, these first three questions are really directed towards him.
All right, well, take it over.
So just to paraphrase for him, for Gimme, he said it went from being a hobby to his full-time job. He's always wanted to be a programmer.
All right. And the second question on the list, what is the hardest problem you currently see for the brightest possible future of Starmade?
Schema just hopes that he can afford to continue making the game and make it the best that it can be. He doesn't really see many limitations otherwise, but things can get harder as time goes on. That's expected.
So, just for everybody else out there, that means go buy the game. Come on, help him out. Or at least, that's what I would say. I'm not going to put words in your mouth. Or schemas, but that's what I would say.
The other half of it is saying, every obstacle he's come up against so far, he's found ways around it.
Very, very true. And I am forever thankful. Let's hit number 3. Is there a possibility that Starmade will run better in the future, aka an FPS boost sort of thing?
Scheme is continually trying to work on this. Like the current pre-build is a major improvement. You can't really give... there's not a lot you can say about things like this, because if you knew all the possibilities, he would have added it into the game already. It's a process that takes time. The dev build is already running leaps and bounds beyond what it was, and we'll continue to do what we can to improve it.
And I can vouch for that. The dev build is so much better. All right, let's hit up the next one. Will the collision system be improved?
900 frames a second.
Nice. Will the collision system be improved? Currently, the larger ship is the one that gets teleported, which does seem a bit odd.
Yeah, the emergency system will get overhauled. Yes, the collision system will be improved. The emergency system will also get overhauled. So that the ships will get teleported backwards slightly instead of just being jumped around. So when you get into a heavy collision situation, it'll feel like you're rubber banding instead of just having this giant teleport.
All right. Yeah, that should help quite a bit. All right, and then do you plan on making it possible to bookmark or catalog waypoints and coordinates?
Yes.
best answer ever.
Amen.
Oh yeah.
All right. I know you had a personal reason to want to answer this one. So why is there no RGB color selection?
Now, I thought the answer was simpler when I put the question on here. And I did put this question on here because people were asking. It didn't make it in time on the Reddit post. I talked to Schema and actually got the details. And what it comes down to is adding an RGB color selection for block types increases the block data 12 bytes up from its current 3 bytes per block. It also adds that same impact to your graphics card. And for some tech jargon here, which I don't understand, currently 4 floats per vertex complete with normals, lighting, and shading. In addition to the memory, the chunks also have to be sent over the network. So adding this much data would cripple the scalability that is one of the key features of Starmade. You wouldn't be able to make giant ships anymore.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound like fun. All right, so I think we've already gotten through the first topic, which is pretty cool. So let's do a little round robin here. And Dalwan, any questions, comments, concerns, etc.?
Oh boy. Well, in general, where are we looking for things like? I tell you what, I'll make it a simple one. Plex door wedges, yes or no?
There's a problem with those, and if you're using it for inside or outside. An internal door, there's no point in having a plex door wedge because you're going to have half the block invisible anyways, right? So if you're trying to fit inside of a square hallway, it's just not going to work. And if you're using it with existing wedges, then there's no point in having it. Schema says they can be done.
He's not. I don't think there are a lot of things you can do with plex door mechanics for detailing, which we've that aren't actually doors, you know. But it can be used as in the way it works, you know, by contacting surfaces to open and close. So,
yeah, they can definitely be done.
Yeah, it's just to increase the scope of what can be done with them, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Go ahead.
No, go.
I was just gonna move on to Tamino really quick if he has anything to ask.
I have arrived.
Welcome, Apex. Well, I guess Tamino don't want to talk. So Zero, any question under?
Did I not say anything?
No, you didn't say anything.
Sorry, mate. Oh, right, that was bad form. Yeah, I think I said what I should have said was something about the things you can do with plex doors that are not actually doors. So there are many modeling aspects to do with that, such as a landing gear, other detailing things like we've seen extendable cranes on planet builds. So there's more you can do with doors than just doors. Because of the way that a connecting block will become invisible, that mechanic is very useful to a builder, and having wedges will now allow more scope for creativity in design.
All right, I that makes sense, and I'm all for that. I was getting to that. I mentioned the internal and external. Internally, using it for doors, there's not a lot of reason for it, although having the option is probably going to be a good thing. Externally, people can do whatever they want, and they come up with ingenious uses for things. This is also a good place to mention that there's a graphic user interface update that we're going to be working on. And one of the things in that is a shape selector for block types. This will reduce the inventory clutter, so you can use one block to get all 5 of the current shapes and any possible future shapes that we add to that.
Oh, that's great.
Ooh.
That's beautiful. Very well done. Elegant.
Fantastic news.
All right. Tamino, did you have any other questions, or are you all set then?
I think most of them are in the list, so...
Fair enough. All right, anything from you, Zero, under the what you would call general tab?
No, the only thing I really have a question for is already on the list, so I got no problem waiting.
Sounds good. Apex, anything?
Not that I can think of.
And Phantom, anything at all?
I'm good.
All right, let's move on to the next bit.
I'd have a question, but I'm really distracted by how pretty this is.
Fair enough. All right, next
So pretty.
next bit will be under planets and environment. You ready to go, Cal?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm ready.
We're always ready. That's the Navy way of saying it. What do you think of the current state of planets, and do you currently have any plans to further develop them?
Well, to start, two-sided planets are confirmed. This is referring to the gravity, the Oreo style that really confuses people. The planets won't look like Oreos. The gravity will be two-sided like an Oreo is.
Amazing.
We're discussing actual generation styles for the two-sided planets. And yes, we did notice the island that was posted in the forums recently. There's options, and we're looking into it.
Might I just suggest one? Hourglass.
Nice.
Oh yeah, we did think about that, didn't we? Like, you know, have you ever seen concept art of Cybertron, where it's all sort of like an apple core? So like a flattened apple core.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Wouldn't that be an Oreo?
I guess, yeah. If it
Kind
had an
of, but-
indentation at the edges, but we're talking to the extremes. There's like a tiny little thing attaching it in the middle. Quite interesting. But hey, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, man.
All right. Well, but Oreo planets are officially confirmed. I heard that right.
Oh yes, I'm hyped.
If you'll excuse me for a second, I've got some business to attend to. I'll be right back.
All right.
No worries.
User left your channel.
What about double stuff Oreos?
Somebody had to say it.
Definitely.
All right. Will there be something like a realistic universe with moons orbiting planets, orbiting suns, being part of a cluster which is orbiting a black hole at the center of the galaxy with a huge empty space in between?
So, an actual universe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Simulated in the game. Yeah, we have
Yes.
plans for that.
Yep.
There's limitations because it is a game and we don't want to make it boring. But yeah, we want that.
Can I just say I love the direction with the change to a planet rotation. That's beautiful because you can do a lot with that. I mean, I was thinking if you want a moon, you just build off into the space off the side, and then you've got your moon.
Well, I mean, I'd like to see moons just generating with your planet.
Oh, that would be
They can
amazing.
generate in sector and be geostationary moons. They can generate outside of the sector and be orbitals.
Yeah, yeah.
Man, you're talking my
Nice.
language.
And
We're all
obviously,
nerds here.
On
black
the subject
hole-
of planets,
Sorry, mate. You carry on.
I was gonna say rings.
That's it. I have a huge list of things. That's one of them.
Awesome.
This is my wish list of things I'd like to see in the game. Yeah, I don't know if you'll actually see physical rings made of blocks, maybe, but I hope at least a graphical effect for the looks.
That's awesome, mate. That's awesome.
I have an idea. What about gas giants, where it's just a very large, almost sector-wide skybox?
Yeah, that's been that's been planned, and it's actually is one of the old confirmed features.
Yeah.
We
nice.
have a feature list. It's really old, and I need to redo it.
Fair enough.
But yes, different planet types. So gas giants. They can have moons. They can have rings. Adding a non-physical planet is. I hope it's easier than adding an actual planet.
Yeah. It would be a pain if it ended up being even worse, and we don't want too much lag, right?
Well, I think
Yeah,
he's just saying you have the atmosphere box where there is no planet, and that's a gas giant.
Yep.
Well, hopefully there's other effects that will impact you while you're in there.
Just
Okay,
horribly
cool.
crushing your ship.
Yeah,
nice. Yeah, increased gravity.
Schema also just reminded me that obviously gas giants can even be round because they're non-physical.
Yeah.
Good point. All right, let's move on to the next one for the moment. Do you plan to change water physics and or lava physics?
Yes, we plan on having liquid moving fluids as well as a source block. I've discussed this with Schema. When adding the blocks, adding the source block as a separate block from the current decorative blocks, and we'll treat the current decorative blocks as a synthetic, decorative block, right? Like it's a lava simulator block. So that way people who have put this stuff on their ships won't have their ships ruined.
All right, sounds good. I think if you're following along with me, Cal. So with the day and night cycles on planets now, could we see a stronger light source to avoid having to cover every inch with plex lights?
I assume that's referring to in the shadows, and yeah, lighting is going to be worked on constantly. Things like this come up as we improve, one aspect, we find that something else is lacking, like lighting. It used to be everything was really well lit, so our lights didn't have to shine very far, but now with actual shadows, we're going to have to change that.
All right, sounds good.
I got a question about the plex lights quickly. I don't know if it's in the right section though.
Yeah, go ahead. We're on plex lights. We may as well do it now.
And I appreciate there might not be an answer because obviously it's not in the list. I was wondering if plex lights would be able to turn on and off as a group, a bit like with plex doors. When you activate one and they're connected, they all turn on and off instead of just...
They should be able to. I can't remember specifically if Schema said that was or wasn't possible. I think she'll let me know here in a second.
Cool. It's something which I've forgotten about, and that suddenly reminded me.
I'm going to tentatively say yes, that's an option that we will be working towards.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's also just reminded me that, and he is listening, so, he's in chat.
He's watching.
He's not able to speak today. He is working planning on an activation block so that we can connect things wirelessly.
Ah, right. So that'd be better then. Okay, something better. Yeah, great. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, like you would place the activation block, and then you would link other blocks to it, and then through the structure tab or through the computers or the programming system, the in-game one that's getting worked in, you could set it up so that it would control things in your ship.
Excellent.
That being said, will we ever see those programmable blocks usable with the Lua interface?
Oh, trust me, Tom. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah, that is covered in a question further down. So.
Yeah.
I don't think I've gotten that far in the list yet. Then.
I get the feeling I walked in on something missing the core of the topic, and I feel very sad about that now.
It's a planet's environment. We didn't just skip the whole thing, mate. Don't worry.
All right.
He just came back. Welcome back, Zero.
Yeah, welcome back, Zero. All right, let's get the last question in this section done. Can the max speed server setting be in the GUI?
In the single player, that can be added. On multiplayer servers, the server really has to have control of that, so it would be a server setting. Because having this too high is the main reason why players get teleported around, and that's not something that anyone enjoys.
Speaking from experience, I agree.
Hey,
I don't enjoy that at all.
It's a little fun at first, but then it gets really annoying.
We have one more in that list, Robin. But I think it might be.
Yes, you have a different one. Unfortunately, we don't have that on this list, so we're gonna go ahead and skip over that. You guys can feel free to ask it at the end, or right now, actually, if you'd like.
Okay, mate. No worries.
Let's see here. Actually, yeah, we'll go ahead and ask that question. Is there?
I'll throw it out.
Sure.
Yep. In the admin tab for ships, would there be any way to set all blueprints to enemy use off in the GUI?
I think there's a setting for that.
Yeah, but
I'm
as a
pretty sure there
button
is a
as
setting
a-
to have that set as default, but you mean existing,
Toggleable.
just like check
yeah,
all.
like a button.
Yeah, with the new scale, basically scalable pirates.
I imagine it's possible, obviously, but I'm going to assume that Schema would say yes on that. I don't know if he actually wants it. Hang on.
Oh.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Awesome. That's outstanding.
Nice.
I'm sitting here hedging my bets, and he's just like, duh, we can.
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
very helpful in a server environment where all of a sudden we have pirate ships we didn't set and we don't know which blueprints they are.
Yeah.
He says there's going to be more advanced admin controls in the game.
Ooh, wunderbar.
Can't wait.
I am so looking forward to this.
Yeah,
Alright.
more stuff to break.
Of course. Alright, so anything for planets and environment? Anything else, Delma?
I think that's all in the list there, and I don't have anything else.
Alright, and Tamina?
Yeah, that's good. That was the one.
And Zero?
I probably missed something, but I'll get caught up on that later, so no.
Alright. Apex, any other extra questions or comments?
Not that I can think of.
And Phantom? I'll take that as a no. Alright, we're gonna...
See me? I have got one.
Oh, okay.
Mum distracted me. Mentioned water physics and stuff. It may have been mentioned, but will there be water planets?
You mean like it's all water, kind of like a gas giant, and
Yeah,
That
round?
would be cool.
Like,
Or do you just mean a solid planet with a big ocean on it?
I'm good either way, but I think one of a solid ocean, so that I mean, people tend to build boats, like literal boats. So for a cinematic perspective, you could have it start on the water and then just rise up, like the helicarrier.
You mean but don't you mean like a block that you can actually fly through? Because we don't have any blocks that clip like that, do we? We don't have water that you can clip
Sort
through.
of an open door, no.
No.
Well, to start with, we can't have water planets.
Right.
And there will be more planets added as we go along. As for how the ships interact with water, I'm going to just be confident in what Schema can do and have high hopes.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of adding greater sort of air resist to the block.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Interesting.
But I mean, what it comes down to is dealing with water physics is we don't want it to negatively impact the game. So it's what we can do that is beneficial and entertaining without, ruining the rest of the space part of the game.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
being said, water physics in space, nebulas.
Really.
Water planets are things on our wish list. Nebulas are things on our wish list. That's actually something somewhat related to the new skybox that he implemented.
Ooh. Are we possibly going to see mining things like gases from those nebulas?
That's definitely something that's been discussed. It hopefully will be something we see.
Beautiful. And so let me just paraphrase this, if I may. So circular all water planets probably, or just straight up not going to happen. Is there any chance for let's say a lake on a Terran planet?
So
Oh, no,
like world gen.
Both actually. Water on normal planets will happen. A
Nice.
water world around a normal planet probably will happen. A completely, just a globe of water with no core, I'm sure it can still happen.
Cool.
I think that was the best
You've
answer
already-
I've heard in a long time.
Because we've shown that the engine looks great when you have terrestrial oceans. It does look great already.
And for all intents and purposes, our water blocks are almost like ice blocks there, and imagine flowing water.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
funny. even if you just had a block that was like an open plex door but still had a transparent texture, you could achieve water, without it needing to move. But I appreciate what you're doing is much more all-encompassing.
That's impressive. I really like that. All right. Anybody have anything else they want to add or anything else before we move on?
Just that there's about 220 odd people in here. I just wanted to say thanks everybody for tuning in and sticking with it, and yeah.
And thank you to everybody.
I'm looking around the sector we're in free cam mode, and I have to say the lighting is gorgeous.
It really is. We'll do a quick flyby after this next section, just so everybody can see.
Work now. Spotlights work.